Good afternoon and welcome to this edition of Finweek Money Matters. Remember, this is the show that helps you manage your finances. I'm Dumisho Greater. Coming up on the show today, we meet the woman behind the Cape Town Partnership. That is the driving force behind the revival of the Cape Town CBD. And we'll also take a look at the impact of the drought, and we'll look at the outlook for Coronation Fund managers. Later on in the show, we'll be joined by a panel of experts to discuss investment strategies for 2016. But before we get into all of that, do remember that we welcome all of your comments and feedback. You can send it to us at moneymatters@abn360.com. But first, let's take a look at this week's Trend of the Week. The city of Cape Town is one of the continent's cleanest and most hospitable metros, and also one of the world's best places to live, play and stay. But the city centre wasn't always this wonderful. But joining us in studios from Cape Town to discuss the revitalisation of the city to become this top tourism destination is the Chief Executive of the Cape Town Partnership, Bulelwa Makalima-Ngewana. Bulelwa, thanks for your time today. Maybe tell us about the inspiration behind the formation of Cape Town Partnership.
Thank you, it's good to be here. The formation of the Cape Town Partnership really emerged out of a combination of partners who wanted to ensure that the CBD of Cape Town didn't go into decline. That would be the City of Cape Town, South African Property Owners Association, the Chamber of Commerce, and out of that conversation emerged the Cape Town Partnership. We've been around now since 1999. The turnaround of the CBD of Cape Town really started with putting the basics in place, making sure that it was clean and that it was safe. We saw investment in property immediately when the basics were in place, and then we realized that what needed to happen was to ensure that the Cape Townians themselves recognize it as a space to go to and appreciate the fact that even if you don't have access to a building, your public spaces still are animated to be entertaining and welcoming.
Bulelwa, how did you come about on deciding on a strategy, and how do you implement this? It's a huge task. Where does one even begin?
Well, it really begins with forming a number of relationships with a number of partners and also learning from lessons globally. There's been many CBDs that have been revived internationally. So what we did was to look at what the international lessons are and how we can translate those lessons to our local content. It's always by experiment, and it's always by ensuring that you are able to review your strategy frequently to ensure that it's still relevant.
What's the biggest hurdle that you have when you were embarking on this transformation path?
Well, it's when we realized that the CBD was clean and safe, but it was empty, because a lot of people still remembered when it wasn't safe and clean. And so, for example, for us, a very key milestone was hosting the FIFA World Cup, ensuring that the Finweek actually started in the CBD, which allowed for investment in the infrastructure in public spaces and in reintroduction of the public space realm to the average Cape Townian. And so we've been pushing a very strong people-first strategy, because we realize that for its survival, the CBD requires the whole of the metro to recognize it as the heart of the Cape Town metro.
Bulelwa, what else can we look forward to in future? You said you put people first. In the intro there, we mentioned that Cape Town is one of the countries in the world that is ranked the best place to live, stay. So what else can we look forward to from the city of Cape Town?
Well, what we can look forward to from the Cape Town Partnership is the ability to be able to replicate what we've achieved with the CBD of Cape Town throughout the Cape Town metro. Because the Cape Town metro is a network of CBDs. All of them require injection. They need to be able to collaborate instead of competing. So the Cape Town Partnership is looking at starting the next year by figuring out how to have a metro-wide place-making strategy that can then translate into the Khayelitsha CBD, the Mitchells Plain CBD, the Bellville CBD, just to mention a few.
In terms of this funding, I mean, to transform these different jurisdictions, it takes money. How do you raise funds exactly?
Well, one of the key strategic partners that we have in a relationship with is the City of Cape Town. So the municipality of Cape Town is able to partner with the Cape Town Partnership in rolling out a metro-wide strategy, because currently they have what they call an urban regeneration program, where the Mayor of Cape Town has selected nodes within the Cape Town Metro, where there will be an investment from the public purse aimed at ensuring a regeneration of those CBDs. So the Cape Town Partnership is simply looking forward in supporting that strategy and bringing into the conversation a place-making agenda in order to ensure that Cape Townians themselves become collaborators and co-creators in terms of their own public spaces.
Bulelwa, thanks so much for that. That was Bulelwa Makalima-Ngewana. She's the Chief Executive of the Cape Town Partnership. Let's now take a look at this week's Killer Trade.